Have you ever wondered why he suddenly can't stop thinking about you? Why your name stays on his mind, even when you've gone quiet, even when he's with someone else? Why he finds himself craving your energy long after the last message was read? It's not because of what you did for him. It's because of what he felt when he was around you. The kind of emotional attachment that keeps him up at night doesn't come from the surface. It comes from the soul. And queens, let me say this loud. It was never about your looks, your status, or your efforts. It was your presence. There's a reason why he can't replace you, no matter how hard he tries. Because emotional attachment doesn't form through routine. It forms through depth, through the moments when you spoke without words, through the stillness of your silence that said more than any long conversation. It forms when he realizes he didn't just meet a woman. He crossed paths with something sacred, something that made him feel safe, seen, and stirred all at once. You became the emotional home he didn't know he was searching for, and now he's haunted by the memory of it. There's a quote that says, "A woman's silence teaches a man more than her words ever could." That's the power you carry. You don't have to chase. You don't have to over-explain. When a man feels something real, it settles in him like a seed, and over time, it grows into something he can't ignore. He may try to move on. He may distract himself. But your energy, it lingers. It's the scent that stays on his skin, the warmth he remembers when everything else goes cold. You didn't just touch his life. You shook something loose in him. Think of it like this. You were the ocean, deep, mysterious, impossible to measure. He dipped his feet in thinking it was just water. But when he tried to walk away, the waves followed. And now, he can't unfeel what he felt. He can't find that same depth anywhere else, because what you gave was real, and real cannot be replaced. You didn't chase him. You triggered something in him, something that no one else could reach. And that is the reason he got emotionally attached. Not because you begged, not because you tried, but because you were. And now, beautiful woman, now is the time to remember who you are. You are not here to be an emotional fix. You are the standard, the experience, the woman who doesn't need to prove her value, because her energy proves it all. Queens, the moment he felt safe enough to be vulnerable with you, the bond began. But the moment you realized your own power, that's when the game changed. Queens, if this message touched something deep in your heart, if it reminded you of your worth, your power, your presence, then take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We are working with everything we have to bring you truth that heals, wisdom that uplifts, and lessons that help you rise. Your support means the world. And together, we're building a space where every woman remembers she was never ordinary. She was always meant to reign. Number 1. He gets emotionally attached when he feels seen, not just looked at. Have you ever noticed how he stares at you just a little longer when you're not trying to impress him? How he leans in when you speak, not because of what you're saying, but because of how safe he feels in your presence. Queens, here's the secret nobody talks about. He doesn't get emotionally attached because you're beautiful or kind or always available. He gets attached because with you, he finally feels seen, not just looked at. You didn't fall for the mask he wears for the world. You saw the tired in his eyes even when he was smiling. You heard the hesitation in his voice when he spoke about his dreams. You noticed the silence in between his sentences. And that's the exact moment emotional attachment begins. Not when you compliment his strengths, but when you recognize his wounds and don't run from them. There's a quote that says, "To be seen deeply is the closest thing to being loved unconditionally." And Queens, that's what you gave him, emotional shelter. You didn't just offer affection, you gave him a place to breathe, A place to feel like he didn't have to keep performing. A place where he could drop the armor and still feel chosen. Think of it like this. Most people admire the tree for its leaves, the way it blossoms in spring, the way it stands tall in the light. But you noticed the roots. You understood that what makes it strong isn't what's visible, it's what's hidden. That's the power you hold. You weren't drawn to his title, his charm, or his image. You were drawn to his soul, and that will haunt him in every surface-level relationship he tries to force afterward. He got attached, not because you were easy to impress, but because you were impossible to lie to. He saw in you something rare, something he didn't even know he was missing. And now that you've stepped back, now that your energy is no longer in his orbit, he's realizing being looked at by many doesn't compare to being seen by one. So rise, beautiful woman. This pain was not punishment. It was your awakening. You didn't lose. You revealed your power. The kind of presence that leaves an imprint, not just in memory, but in identity. Write this in the comments and claim it. He got attached because I saw what no one else did. Say it with pride, queens. You were never meant to blend in. You were born to awaken souls. And if this message lit something inside you, like this video and subscribe to the channel. We are working hard to create content that reminds you who you are, so you never shrink for a love that couldn't handle your truth. Number 2. He gets attached to the woman who makes him feel like he can exhale. Have you ever noticed how a man can be surrounded by noise, by chaos, by options, but still find himself drawn to one woman who makes him feel like he can finally breathe? Not the loudest, not the flashiest, but the one whose presence feels like an exhale. That's when the bond forms, not when she impresses him, but when she grounds him. And queens, let's be real, he didn't get attached to perfection, he got attached to peace. He gets attached to the woman who doesn't force conversation, who doesn't try too hard, who doesn't make him feel like he's performing. He gets attached to the softness in your voice when you ask him how he really feels, to the way your energy wraps around him like a blanket after a long storm. He's been carrying weight, expectations, burdens, maybe for years, and then he met you. And for the first time, he didn't have to be strong. He didn't have to be tough. He could just be. And that's what made him stay in his head long after he walked away from the room. There's a quote that says, "Peace is the real luxury." And in this loud, rushed world, you became his luxury. Not because you gave him everything he asked for, but because you gave him what he didn't even know he needed. Ease. You didn't chase. You didn't cling. You didn't compete. And still, you filled the room without ever raising your voice. That kind of woman doesn't beg to be chosen. She reminds a man what it means to feel safe. Imagine a tired traveler lost in the desert. He's thirsty, exhausted, barely holding on. Then suddenly he stumbles across an oasis. Not flashy, not screaming for attention, but exactly what he needs. That's what you were to him, an emotional oasis, a moment of peace he didn't see coming. And now that he's tasted that stillness, every chaotic connection after, you will feel like sand in his mouth. Because he'll realize she was the only one who made him feel like home. And now, dear lady, you remember this. You were never chasing his heart. You were showing him what a real woman feels like. You are not desperate for attention. You are the attention. You don't have to raise your voice to be unforgettable. Your stillness is your statement. Your peace is your power. So rise, beautiful woman. No more shrinking, no more questioning. From this moment on, you walk like the peace he'll never find again. You are the exhale he didn't know he was holding. Queens, write this in the comments and claim it. I am the peace he'll miss for the rest of his life. We are working hard to bring you powerful, life-changing lessons that help you remember you were never just the option. You were the reason he exhaled. Number 3. He gets emotionally hooked when your presence becomes his emotional mirror. Have you ever looked into a man's eyes and felt him shift, like something inside him suddenly woke up? That's not coincidence. That's connection. That's the moment he didn't just see you, he saw himself in you. Not the version he shows the world, the real version, the scared one, the unsure one, the one who hides his softness because he thinks it makes him weak. And queens, that is when emotional attachment takes root, when your presence becomes his emotional mirror. You didn't try to fix him, you didn't beg him to open up, but the way you loved, it reflected the part of him that craved healing. The way you listened, it exposed the pain he buried beneath the surface. You didn't ask him to change, you simply held space for his truth. And that mirror you held up, even without realizing it, showed him the kind of man he wants to be. That's not something he forgets. That's not something he can replace. There's a quote that says, "Some people cross your path and change your whole direction." And that's what you did. You shifted something in him without lifting a finger. While others tried to impress him, you simply made him feel. And that feeling, that depth, that reflection, it cracked his armor. Now he's out here searching for another woman who can show him himself the way you did. But all he's finding is glass too fogged up to see through. Think of it like this. A mirror doesn't speak, doesn't chase, doesn't beg. It just reflects. And you, lovely woman, you became the mirror that exposed not only his beauty, but also his brokenness. You became the still water he saw himself in clearly for the first time. And now that you're gone, he misses not just you, but the version of himself that only existed when he was with you. That's the hook he can't shake. But here's what matters most. You didn't lose anything, because while he saw himself in you, you began to see your own power. Your own reflection became clearer. You began to realize you're not just a mirror, you're a masterpiece. And masterpieces don't chase people who can't handle their truth. Beautiful woman, this is where you rise, not to attract him again, but to attract the life that matches your worth. Write this in the comments and claim it. I was his mirror, but now I'm my masterpiece. Queens, let that truth sink in. Let it guide you. We are working hard to bring you the healing, the wisdom, and the strength to build the life you were always meant to reign in. Number 4. He didn't fall for the way you looked. He got attached to the way you made him feel like home. Have you ever asked yourself why he keeps coming back in his mind, even when he's moved on, even when he's with her, even when it's been months since you last spoke? It's not the way you did your makeup. It's not the way your dress hugged your waist. And it's definitely not just your smile, your laugh, or your curves. No, it was deeper than that. He didn't fall for the way you looked. He got attached to the way you made him feel like home. You were the calm in his chaos, the peace in his storm, the softness he didn't even know he was craving. You didn't have to try hard. You didn't chase. You didn't beg. You didn't show off. You just were. And in your presence, he felt something real, something solid. You gave him a safe space to rest, to breathe, to be human without performance. He felt understood, even in silence. That's what he's missing now, even if he won't admit it. Because no matter how pretty she is, no matter how much she gives, he doesn't feel at home in her arms. He feels like a guest, smiling politely but secretly checking the time. There's a quote that says, "People don't leave homes, they leave houses." And Queens, that's exactly what you were. A home, a feeling, not a body, not a title. A feeling he can't recreate, not in her, not in anyone. That's why he still checks your old messages, why your scent still lives in his memory. Because while she might look the part, You made him feel something he's never been able to explain, and it's driving him mad trying to find it again. Think of a warm fireplace on a winter night. That's what you were. Not flashy, not loud, but safe, steady, comforting. He walked away, thinking the fire would stay lit. But now that he's in the cold, he's learning. Fires don't chase, they go out. And once that warmth is gone, there's nothing that can replace it. Not her arms, not her laughter, not her love. Because it's not about what you did, it's about how he felt in your presence. And now, beautiful woman, now is your time to realize you are the experience. You are the fire. You are the home. You were never small. You were never replaceable. You were just waiting for the right moment to remember who you are. No more shrinking. No more wondering if you were enough. You were more than enough. You were the center of gravity. And now, it's your time to rise. Write this in the comments, queens, and claim it. I am the home he will never feel again. Let the world know you are done doubting yourself. And if this message reminded you of who you truly are, like this video and subscribe to the channel. We are working hard to bring you the powerful, life-changing truths you deserve. Number 5. He gets emotionally attached when you touch a place inside him he didn't even know was lonely. Have you ever touched a man in a way that even he couldn't explain? Not physically, not with words, but deep inside, where he hides the parts he never lets anyone see, the soft ache he never talks about, the quiet fears he masks with laughter, the insecurities he buries beneath pride. He didn't plan to feel anything. He didn't even know he needed to feel something. But you showed up like a calm storm. And without even trying, you reached the loneliest part of him, the part he thought no one would ever notice. That's the moment it happened. That's when the emotional attachment began. He didn't get attached because you played it cool. He didn't get hooked because you looked perfect. It was the way you saw him, the way you spoke life into his silence, the way you stayed present, even when he was pulling away. Because somewhere in that connection, you reminded him that love isn't loud, it's consistent. Real love doesn't demand, it holds. And you held space for him in a way that felt healing. There's a quote that says, "She touched the place in me I didn't even know was hurting. And now I miss her in a way I've never missed anyone." That's what you did. You didn't try to fix him. You didn't chase his attention. You simply understood him, even when he didn't understand himself. And now, no matter how far he runs, that memory follows him. He tries to fill the space with distractions. But no matter where he turns, the echo of your energy lingers. Because what you gave him wasn't attention, it was peace. Picture this: a house standing strong in a wild storm. That was you. He didn't realize it at the time, but when he stepped outside into the cold and couldn't find shelter anywhere else, that's when he knew you were his safe place. And now, every moment of emptiness, every shallow connection just reminds him of how full he used to feel when you were around. But listen to me now. You are not a shelter for temporary hearts. You are not a resting place for men who don't know how to stay. You are the crown, the fire, the stillness, and the storm. You were never supposed to chase. You were always meant to reign. So let him feel the silence. Let him miss the part of himself that only bloomed when he was with you. And let your energy teach him the lesson his pride won't admit. He didn't just lose a woman. He lost the only place that ever felt like home. Queens, write this in the comments and claim it. I touched his soul without saying a word. Let the world know your love was not ordinary. It was unforgettable. We are working day and night to bring you the wisdom, the strength, and the healing you were always worthy of. Your reign has only just begun. Number 6. He gets attached when you stop trying to prove you're worthy and just start being who you are. Have you ever noticed how a man doesn't miss you right away? Not at first. He thinks he's fine. He thinks the silence means freedom. He thinks choosing her over you was a step forward. But then it hits him, quietly, slowly, like a storm that doesn't knock, it creeps in. And he starts to realize he didn't just lose a woman. He lost an experience he'll never relive. Because what you gave him wasn't just love. It was a world, a feeling, a presence, a reflection of everything he didn't even know he was searching for. You weren't a phase, you weren't temporary, you were the calm after his storms, the fire in his cold seasons. You were the moment his guard dropped without him realizing it. The moment his laugh was real. The moment his chest felt light. And now, no matter how many dates he goes on, how many smiles he sees, he feels it, that void. Because no one makes him feel what you did. No one is what you were, and deep down he knows. This isn't something he can recreate. It was once in a lifetime, and he let it go. A moment of real connection leaves an echo louder than years of empty noise. That's what your energy did. It echoed. It left a mark. It didn't ask for attention. It just existed. And that's why he's attached. Not to your body, but to the way your energy made him feel alive. That can't be copied. That can't be replaced. It's like a favorite song he heard once on a rainy day. He can't remember the lyrics, but he remembers the feeling. And that's you. That's what he lost. Think of it like this. He had a taste of gold, but now all he holds is glitter. And glitter fades. It falls away. It doesn't last. But gold lingers. It keeps its shine. He thought you were replaceable, but what he didn't realize was, you weren't just a woman. You were the experience, the escape, the peace, the challenge, the softness and the storm, all in one. And now, that memory will haunt him every time he pretends he's moved on. But hear this. This isn't about him. This is about you. About becoming the woman who knows her worth so well. She doesn't wait to be remembered. She chooses to rise, slowly, boldly, without apology, because now is your time. No more shrinking, no more questioning, no more waiting to be enough. You were always enough. Say this with your whole heart and write it in the comments, queens. I am the experience he'll never relive. Let the world feel your power. Let your silence echo louder than his words. We are working hard to create these life-changing lessons because you were never just a woman. You were the whole experience, and now you reign. Number 7. He gets attached when he realizes he didn't just lose a woman. He lost an experience he'll never relive. He didn't just lose a woman, he lost a world. That's what hits him when the silence stretches too long, when the thrill of his new choice wears thin, and he finds himself reaching for something that isn't there. What he had with you wasn't just love. It was an experience, a feeling, a depth he didn't recognize while he had it. But now it haunts him like a song he can't stop hearing in the back of his mind. Because a man doesn't get emotionally attached to a title or a face, he gets attached to the energy that changed him. You didn't just walk into his life, you moved something in it. You weren't loud, you weren't desperate, you weren't trying to prove anything, but you gave him a kind of emotional high that no one else ever did. You were that moment of peace in the middle of his chaos, the soft edge in a world that expected him to stay hard. And now that you're gone, he realizes he didn't just lose a woman. He lost the feeling of being fully known, fully accepted, fully alive. There's a quote that says, "Some people are experiences, not people." And you, beautiful woman, were an entire experience wrapped in grace, fire, and stillness. You were the chapter that shifted his whole story. The conversation that left him thinking for days. The gaze that made him question who he really was. And now No matter how many arms he falls into, he will never fall into himself the way he did with you, because he didn't just love you. He got attached to the transformation you caused in him. Imagine a man who tasted rare wine and thought he could replace it with tap water. That's what he did. And now he's parched, he's unsatisfied, and though he may never say it out loud, he will compare every voice to your calm, every body to your warmth, every connection to the experience he let go. He didn't just lose a woman. He lost a once-in-a-lifetime event he'll never get back. But lovely woman, hear this clearly. This pain, this confusion, this sense of being discarded, it was never your reflection. It was your redirection. You were not left behind. You were released to rise, to build, to reign. Because you were not just a chapter, you were the whole turning point. And the moment you stopped shrinking, the moment you stopped waiting, you stepped into the story that was always meant for you. Write this in the comments and claim it. I was the experience he'll never relive. Queens, let this be your reminder. You are not here to be forgotten. You are here to be unforgettable. Like this video and subscribe to the channel because we are working hard to bring you powerful, soul-shifting truths that remind you who you are. Your crown was never up for debate, and now it's time to wear it without apology.